Hello, everyone. So today is 17th of September, and it's almost 20 minutes past 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm doing my analysis post Bank of Canada and Federal Reserve rate cut. I've been busy last couple of weeks. Couldn't do my YouTube, so it's a good opportunity to do it. And let's dive into it. So what has happened today? First of all, Bank of Canada cut their rate by 25 basis points, which I did point on my Twitter a couple of times that the Bank of Canada is set to, Bank of Canada and Fed are set to cut the interest rate by 25 basis points, and the high probability was about 95 to 97%. So if you go to my Twitter handle, and you will see that I had been mentioning that, let's say, and mostly on the Fed. So let's say where it is. Let me see. I think it was on 5th of September. Let me go here. So go to 5th of September. So let's see, 1 second. Where did it go? Sorry, I think I'm missing somewhere. Let's say, you know what? Let me go and click on the one which I just replied. Yes. So this is the one. So this was on 5th of September. Fed rate cut expectation moved this from 75 to 86% after an NFP. Now market is expecting 3 rate cuts, right? So that's what we have seen, and that's what we got the confirmation from the Fed. So I give you almost 2 weeks ahead of time that that's what is happening, and that's what Fed has confirmed today, right? And Bank of Canada, on some of the WhatsApp groups, I did mention that Bank of Canada is also set to cut by at least 90, 95%. So it was almost close to 100% probability, and that's what we have seen. Right now, one of the things which Fed has a concern is that the employment market is softening, right? So let's see what they're saying there. Okay. Recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity moderated in the first half of the year. So that's what Fed said in the statement. Job gains have slowed, and the unemployment rate has edged up, but remains low. Inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. So this is the key statement from what Fed has said. The other thing is Bank of Canadian, on the Canadian side, we had 65,000 job losses in the recent job report. So I think Bank of Canada it was given that they're going to cut. I think there's some expectation of 50 basis point cut, but I don't think that Bank of Canada is in the position to give 50 basis point cut. And we'll do a little bit of deep analysis about it. Okay. But the other thing is, if you're not following my Twitter, please do follow. Thank you very much for following my YouTube. I do produce every week market probability map, 70 to 80% of the time. This has been correct. So what I'm expecting now, what is happening? We are likely to see a mixed reaction tomorrow. So what happens is the market will absorb what Fed has said today. Market will react tomorrow, right? We had some selling and then we pulled back, which is fine. It happens. We have mixed reaction, but on Friday, 19 September, we have quarterly option expiry, where futures options will expire, option of futures will expire, futures are going to expire, and stock options are going to expire, right? So market has behaved bearish historically on 19th of September. So that's what my research suggests. By the way, guys, I am the founder of TWT Learning, and TWT Learning is into financial education and training providing. So a training provider. So I do a lot of research, and thank you very much for your support. With the help of that, I do provide some actionable ideas on my Twitter. So I've been a little slow, was busy with some other stuff last week, but I'll be back in action now. I am starting a course from September 20th until October 18th. So this is basically 5 module course, so 5 Saturdays between 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. And this covers understand the market psychology and order flow, learn market economic indicators, fundamentals and price action, option trading, income strategies, futures trading, how the major institution, they hedge themselves, stock screening, short to medium term, long term investments, identify high probability trades. Some of them are the probabilities between 80 to 95% of the time, correct? And this is a 4-month mentorship program. So basically 5 modules you will learn over 5 weekends or 5 Saturdays, and followed by 3 months access to my private idea group where I show my trades, I put my ideas and what I'm looking at. We had a very good, exceptional September. We had exceptional May. We did very good in May. We did good in June and July. We did good in August and September. So it's been exceptional couple of last months, right? And if somebody was following me on my Twitter, you have noticed that I've given a couple of good trade ideas on SMCI, Intel, Sound, TeraWulf, NVIDIA. NVIDIA, I have a broadcast where I said before the earnings that NVIDIA will drop after earnings and so forth and so on, right? So please, if you're interested, get in touch with me over WhatsApp, text me. I'm available. This is my number. I suggest please visit twtlearning.com and see the testimonials. I am also contributing analyst with investing.com and fxstreet.com. So if you do not know, you can go to TWT Learning. Let me actually pull that for you now. Let me do it for you. Okay, so if you go to TWT Learning, and you will find all the videos, all the podcasts over there. Right, so all my recent podcasts are here. You'll find it. It takes a little bit of time to download. The latest one was September 2025, market expectation. You can see most of the time I do it on the key earnings, right? You will find about us. These are the link to investing.com and fxstreet.com. And you will be able to find the testimonials, which is the key. So if you go down here, you will find the testimonials from a number of my students, right? So that's all. Let's go back to here. Okay. So as I mentioned that actually I did tell this in the community that there are 3 rates coming, right? And that's where you can follow it up. You can see now what's next, right? Okay, this has happened. What next, right? So let's go and let's look at, this is the US dollar interest rate, right? Let me just change it. I like the color to be orange, right? Let me just change it a bit. Let me change this to dark and put it orange. For some reason, I like it. US actually, after breaking 4.50, the next level, the next very close by level is 3.75, right? So we are talking about 2 more rate cuts, which also my chart agrees with that, right? After that, if we actually break through this 3.75, then we have room to 3.25, but that will take time. But we have 2 immediate rate cuts from now until end of this year or maybe early next year. So that's given. Now, why Canada will not cut rates? Why Canada cannot do it? I'll give you the reason for that. So if you see, this is the Bank of Canada, the Canadian interest rate. Okay. See the Canada interest rate. We have come down to 2.5%. After 2.5%, we have stayed in the past at around 2.5% for a couple of months here. Now, there are 2 scenarios in mind that we will see 2 consecutive rate cuts until the end of this year. So we have an October meeting and December meeting, or we'll see 1 and then wait in early next year. Now, why I think that the second scenario, which is the pink line, is going to work because the spread between US dollar and Canada is getting huge. Now let's go here. I'll show in one chart. So there is a possibility the 2 rate cuts in line with what US Fed is going to do. We see a rate cut in October, and then we see a wait for a bit, and then we see another cut. Ideal scenarios will have 2 rate cut depending on the job market and the inflation. And why I think that the Bank of Canada is not in the position to cut 50 basis point or a larger cut. You see at the top is the US dollar interest rate, and this is basically Canadian, which is not just reflecting the cut today. The spread between this is about 1.75%. That's what Bank of Canada has been maintaining. The difference between right at the moment, US dollar interest rate is 4.25% versus 2.5% on the Canadian side. So yeah, 2.5% on the Canadian side. This one is not updated at the moment. The chart will be updated soon, I mean later tonight. They are maintaining 1.75 spread between the two. So if US cuts 25 basis points and Canada has room to cut only 25 basis points, they cannot increase this spread because of the cross-border export and then flight of currency as well. So that is one of the reasons. That's my thesis about it. I may be completely wrong. If the job market cracks larger than expected, then we may see a larger cut. But looking at the current situation, it's very difficult for Bank of Canada to do so. Now let's look at the market. Okay, so what the market has done. So we are looking at actually MNQ, which is the Nasdaq futures. And what we have seen is basically Nasdaq future is coming into a resistance area, which is about 224,700 to 800. We failed to break this one. Again, I do put two scenarios. My ideal scenario is we pull down, we come back, we hit this previous all-time high, and then we decide where we are going. On the aggressive scenario, we go down, we pull back, and we break through this. We'll see what comes up. Right? So we'll look into it, what comes up. Similar thing is, and I'll give you my thesis why I think that the market has a limited room on the upside. Similar with ES, which is the S&P futures. So we are coming along this very strong resistance line. We failed to break. We are now around 6684. So we failed to break somewhere around this line, maybe 6700, 6700. I'm not sure what level will it be. Market then comes down, pulls back, and retests this previous 6200 previous high, or we go break through that. So we'll have to see that what scenario comes up. And what my thesis is based on the volatility index. Volatility UVXY, I've seen some activity. The investors are hedging. They're expecting some sharp volatility coming between September and October. We have yet to see what happens, but it's sitting at the bottom. If it goes higher from here, it is now UVXY is at 1071. If it goes higher, it has room to 34. So understand 24 points. So that is not very good for the market. We have yet to see. We have to see what happens on Friday. Friday is the crucial day because of the expiration of stock options, expiration of futures, expiration of futures option. Right. So that's there. And let's quickly look at. We have QQQ. QQQ is also coming into the resistance area. Right. So we are 594 to be precise. We have seen 590, so 594, 95 with the area to watch for tomorrow and Friday. And let's look at SPY, which is the S&P ETF, and that is also coming at 661.74. That's the resistance. There's been some unusual dark pool after market, and dark pool is again it's a two-way trade. It's not a single-way street. Somebody bought it, somebody sold it, right? So I'll see tomorrow morning at 9:30 what the market does. Again, if the seller is stronger, then the market will drop. Or if the seller is weaker, then the market will stay higher. What I have seen in the past, if Fed has announced a series of rate cuts, it's not very positive for the market. If there is a series of rate cuts, it's not very positive for the market, especially for the mega cap, large caps, and some of the mid caps and small caps, they get benefit, but mega cap and large cap, they don't. And they run the index, right? So we'll see how it goes. Let's look at the gold. Now let's look at the gold. Gold is finding some resistance. Now the The unknown is clear. Now, Fed has put the roadmap ahead of us, that two more rate cuts and one in 2026, right? So gold, to me, it looks like it's ready to come back to 3,500. 3,500, but still in the uptrend, right? So do not take me wrong. Corrective move. It's still in the uptrend. We'll see how Fed and U.S. administration go forward along the way. On the way in the future. I mean, in coming weeks, right? And let's look at the light crude. Light crude is in the range. I'm not expecting. I mean, basically, if it breaks 65, then it goes higher. If it breaks 61 on the downside, it goes lower. So not focusing a lot on it. US dollar, if you see, US dollar has found support around 96 area, went higher. We are still here. We can still see higher. We go higher. Not good for the stock market. Right? But again, in the past, what we have seen is both dollar and in US stock market going higher. US Treasury yields. So yields have actually, 10-year yields have broken this level, the support line. Let me go here. Right. This is what I have been saying on my reports with fxstreet.com, that eventually yields will come down to 4%. We have seen that 4% almost today, this week. And there is a possibility we may pull back a little bit to 425 before going down. Right. And finally, Bitcoin. Not a lot of impact on Bitcoin today, so it's still in the range. I see that 117K is the key resistance that fails to break, will come down back to 112 to 117, maybe a little bit 118 to 112 range. And that's all for now, guys. Have a wonderful week, and I'll do a detailed weekly analysis on Sunday and share with you guys. Have a wonderful remaining week, guys, and we'll see you guys soon.